Hey, what's up, guys? Today, we are going to design your meal plan based upon your macros, okay? And so this is fundamentally important, super easy, really. And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how the best way to go about it. So please stay on this and take some notes because I'm going to be throwing a lot. So we already know, right? We already figured out what our macros should be based upon our calories, right? And we figured out how much calories we want to consume utilizing our body composition and using formulas. So we know that I'm going to try to use 1,800 calorie diet per day to try to drop 13 pounds by the end of February. I already know I'm going to be consuming 144 grams of protein, 152 grams of carbs, and 68 grams of fats within those 1,800 to at least be as close as possible. So now we need to figure out what that's going to look like. So before you do anything, okay, this is the number one thing. Before you do anything, to make this as simple as possible, for a whole week, the best thing you can do is just do a food journal, okay? Basically, write down all the foods you consume from the moment you wake up until you go to sleep. Calculate, give a broad estimation of how much food you think you consume. So this is your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your snacks in between, the drinks after work, the foods that you're snacking on during high stress periods. And really just give yourself a really broad generalization of how much you're consuming every day for the past week. And then the best thing you can do from there is pick and choose the foods that you love to eat and portion control it. Okay, this is how we're going to be able to design the best macronutrient plan for you that you can adhere to until you get to your goals. Okay, so for me, I'm going to hit 1,800 calories. I know I'm going to need to hit 144 grams of protein. It doesn't matter, right? Carbs and fats, they can change. It could be 153 grams of carbs, 68 grams of fat, or whatever, vice versa. That doesn't matter. The most important thing is that we hit 144 grams of protein and we stay with as close as possible to 1,800 calories. Okay, so for me, some things I love to do because my days start very early, 4 a.m. Okay, I wake up at 4 a.m. I start training by 5. I basically train up to 1 p.m. in the afternoon, give myself a little break, and then I'm back on for a few more hours in the afternoon training, and then I'm back home with the family. The most important thing for me is ease and simplicity. So what I like to do for breakfast is I like to basically eat a peanut butter sandwich. But instead of a peanut butter sandwich, I use like some fancy nutso nut spread that has almonds, coconut, Brazil nuts, pecans, macadamia, flax seeds, chia seeds, and salt. Put a little jam on there, and Dave's Killer Bread with the banana, and boom, I got my breakfast. It's high carb, not as high in protein as you want it to be, but hey, I got my quick fix in the morning that's going to help fuel me until the afternoon. And then for lunch, I give myself pretty much a small sandwich. A slice of bread with a can of tuna or a can of sardines with some mayo. Okay, definitely this is a must. You have to do this. You can't eat that thing raw by itself. You need to add a little bit of flavor, and that's what mayo does for you. Does for me. But it's only 333 calories total, well, with about 35 grams of protein. So I definitely add a little bit more for lunch. Now dinner, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Okay, so for dinner, I put down that I eat a boneless New York steak, about 8 ounces with 1 cup of rice and a beer. Okay, now this is true and not true. What's true about this is that I eat definitely at least 8 ounces of steak when I'm getting about steak, but I'm pretty sure I eat more. I don't measure that. It doesn't really matter for me because I know the more protein I eat, the better. What I do measure is my cup of rice. I make sure that I'm only getting 1 cup of rice because it's very, very easy to go to 2 cups of rice without even knowing it. And guess what? In order for me to adhere to this program without going too crazy, I still have my beer, but I plan it into my macros. Okay. So I have 1 beer, and that's Guinness. I love Guinness. I mix it up with Miller Lite, either of the two. Those are the 2 drinks. I wouldn't say I love it, but I really enjoy it. Okay. So let's not go crazy there. I really enjoy it. And so I approximately consume about 800 calories and get about 72 grams at least of protein with 65 grams of carbohydrate and 16 grams of fat. Now, if you calculate all of that, you will see that I'm still about 100 calories shy with about 20 grams of protein shy of hitting my marker. So what I'm going to do, either late at night or sometime in between breakfast and lunch or after lunch, I'm going to add a protein shake. And this is where supplementation comes very much in hand. So this is a snapshot of the food that I'm basically consuming. Okay. So I want to discuss my dinners, why I don't go crazy about measuring. Dinner is, because I have such long days, dinners is my family time. Okay. I understand nutrition, the basics and fundamentals of nutrition. And I understand that, there might be some more high fat content in steak. So I cut that out. But I also know that eating more protein is beneficial for weight loss. So I don't skimp. I probably eat about 12 ounces. So it's probably a little bit more than that. But guys, carbohydrates and fats, you got to measure that. Another thing that you don't see here is vegetables. If you're eating greens, so like spinach, kale, asparagus, celery, even broccoli, I don't even count that. That's like free calories. You can eat 1,000 calories of that and you'll be fine. Why? Because there's fiber in there. It's mostly water anyways. And the nutrient-rich ratio to the calorie is far beneficial. So you don't really want to count those unless you're counting like carrots as your vegetables. Remember, that's orange, not green. So, or even fruits. You want to make sure that you're counting those high sugary foods in the form of fruits and vegetables if you're going to be consuming more of those. And then why do I add beer in there? Okay, beer is like an indulgence for me. Okay, I enjoy a nice beer with my meals at night, and so it tastes good. So I don't want to remove it. I already have a high stressful job, so and with a high energy demand, I'm already putting myself in 1,000 caloric deficit from what I normally would consume anyway. So I already know my energy level is going to drop. And so these are some of the things that I do in order to hit my macros and stay within my caloric needs. And so what you can use is your MyFitnessPal. Once you've done your weekly journal, or actually you can even use your MyFitnessPal for your weekly journal. It's really cool. Now, here's the thing about MyFitnessPal. This is a user database development. So a lot of the foods that are in there are done by me and other people who put foods in there that aren't on there. So it could be accurate. It cannot be accurate. Now, here's another thing. I know I talk about calorie counting. I talk about writing a journal, and I say you only really want to do this in the first 2 to 4 weeks to be able to give yourself an idea of how much you're consuming and how much to control. Calorie counting is not a perfect science. Most foods, there's a plus or minus to it. Meaning like if I have a 105 calorie banana, not all bananas can be 105 calories. Some can be 70 calories, some can be 130 calories. So it really depends on what food you're consuming. And it's kind of important to understand that, like, hey, even though I'm hitting these 1,800 calories to the T, sometimes it might be overestimating I might be underestimating it and therefore not taking to full account actually what I'm consuming. But if you consume the same foods on a week-to-week basis and you don't find your weight dropping the way you want it to, you start simply cutting back even more. Cut back 100 calories, 200 calories, 300, until you start seeing the scale drop. Now, the last most important thing is to measure your foods. Get a scale, get a food weight scale, and measure your foods. Update your pantry with the teaspoon, tablespoon, quarter spoons, cups, and start measuring your food to actually determine whether or not you are eating within portions. So I know it's kind of contradictory to say, hey, count calories, but calories aren't perfect and try to measure it according to, but it's the best we got. And so if you're very serious about trying to drop weight, you don't want to kill yourself by starving yourself, and you want to be able to stick and adhere to the program, develop your meal plan. Try to develop a plan that based off foods that you love, okay? Foods that you like to eat, foods that are convenient, and just portion control it. That's it, just portion control. Now, one thing that I haven't really talked about is nutrient timing. It's basically when to eat. Now, there's this whole thing about intermittent fasting or not. So I'm not going to get into too much detail, but for the most part, guys, it really doesn't matter when you eat. All that really matters is when you want to eat. I think that's far more important than limiting yourself from when to eat. Will you lose weight more intermittent fasting? Potentially, because you're limiting the amount of time you can eat, and you're going to eat so much food within a certain amount of time. But if you're eating 3,000 calories within your 1 hour, dude, you're going to still be eating 3,000 calories versus if you're eating 3,000 calories throughout the day. I assure you, you can intermittent fast all you want, but if you're eating like nobody's business, like there's no tomorrow, you are not going to lose weight. I don't care who you are. You're just not going to lose weight. It's just not going to help you. So if you binge eat because you've been waiting for that 1 hour to consume all your foods, probably binging, intermittent fasting is not the thing for you. Okay. I know it's not the thing for me. I've tried it. I've experimented. I don't enjoy it. It leaves me very tired, very, very hangry. I'm not a pleasant person to be around when I'm hangry, and my job is to be around people. And so have the face to face. So I definitely don't want to do that. So same with you. If you have any issues with intermittent fasting or whatnot, or hangriness, intermittent fasting is probably not the best for you. And we can talk about this more in detail, where you actually start measuring your blood glucose levels with a blood glucose monitor to see exactly when and how foods affect you. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy this. This is super simple, but this is an application process now. We came up with a theory, we came up with a plan, and now we got to apply it and take it to action. And so I hope this helped you. If it does, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, leave a like, and let's keep moving, baby.